Hi, wonderful people. Back again with part two on how to be debt free or student loan free. Okay, so the part one of this video, I discussed for those who are in high school, going to college, first year of college, and how they can prepare themselves so that way they don't accumulate too much loan. Um, and now in this video, I'm going to discuss what do we do after we've graduated college. How do we get rid of those student loans? Because the purpose of us going to college in the first place is to be able to get a better job that pays more money so that we can live our lives, not to be working to pay loans. So we want financial freedom, okay? So the part that I left off step number 4, which discussed pretty much starting to, if you're financially able to, while you are in school, even if you're putting just $100, minimum $100 a month. Now, if you're working on campus and you're making, probably getting paid weekly or bi-weekly, so $100 a month is not too much money to save. So if you are able to, not everybody has those, but if you're able to, that would honestly help you significantly once you have graduated, because you can then use that money to pay off a bulk of your student loans. Okay, so after graduation, there is what is called a grace period. Okay, so grace periods is usually mostly for federal student loans. So if you have taken a private loan, Sally Mae's, that one, you may not have a grace period. They're going to start accumulating interest right away. But if it is a federal loan, such as a subsidized or unsubsidized loan, sorry, if you see me looking this way, that's because I'm looking at my laptop. So excuse me for that. But yeah, so subsidized loans tend to have a 6-month grace period. If it's a Perkins loans, you can have maybe up to 9 months grace period. Okay, and so this period is pretty much it gives you time before you have to start paying your loan. So it's pretty much a grace period for you to figure out how you're going to pay your loans. If you get a job within that time period, enter into a payment plan, whatever the situation is, they're just giving you a little bit of time before you have to start paying them back. So, for most loans, the interest rate does start accumulating during the grace period. So keep that in note, because I think for me, and I believe many other people who are in college, I thought that during the grace period there was no accumulation of interest rate. So I thought that meant there was no interest rate being accumulated. They're just giving me pretty much time for me to start paying. But no, interest rate starts accumulating within the grace period. So this is why, for me, I think it's important to start paying right away. You don't want to wait, because the interest rate starts accumulating the minute you graduate from college. Okay, so with that being said, during that grace period, that 6-month period, if you are blessed with a job right after school, perfect. Start paying immediately. Start paying off your loan. Do not wait. Even if you don't get your dream job, whatever job you have, you can still use a bit or portion of your paycheck towards your student loan. Just as those who are in school, in college, that I advise them to be paying at least, or saving at least $100 a month towards their student loans. Once you have graduated, you can still keep that same strategy. Okay? So when I graduated from college, I did not pass my exam right away, as stated in one of my testimony videos. I graduated as a nurse, but I could not work as a nurse until I passed my NCLEX exam. And that was a struggle. So it took me at least a year after I've graduated from college to actually pass my NCLEX exam, and a couple of months to start to get a job as a nurse. So during that period, I was working as a home health aide, CNA, and making probably $14, $15 an hour. So imagine going to college for 4 years and you're only making $14, $15 an hour. I did not allow that to stop me because I hate debt, and so I do my best to try to get rid of them. So even though I was getting paid that amount of money, I was investing in getting rid of my debt. So each week I got paid, most of my money went towards my student loan. One, I was living at home, so therefore I'm not paying rent. So for those who have graduated, I know we all want to be independent and live and get our own apartments and live life on our own. If you can afford to stay at home and your parents not trying to kick you out, if you can stay at home, I will advise that you stay at home for at least a year, because you're not paying rent. Most often food is already in the fridge, so you're not worried about groceries and all these extra little things that you have to pay if you're living on your own. So use that time to really pay off your loan. If you have, if that is an option. If it's not an option completely, that's fine. But if it is an option to stay home, I would advise that you stay home and use that time to pay off your student loan. So it's important to get into the habit of just get into the mindset of, I don't want to live my life paying people money and not enjoying the money that I'm actually making. So it's important that as soon as you get out of school, you graduate. If you are one of those people who are able to get their dream job even before they graduate, awesome. Start paying immediately. If you're someone like me who had to hustle before they can actually start making more money, fine. Still, you can still start paying immediately. The point is, you don't want interest to accumulate because you want to reduce your principal. Okay? So the principal is the actual loan amount, the actual money that you took out for school. The interest rate is pretty much extra money you're paying the bank or whomever loaned you the money. So you don't want to pay them extra than what you've borrowed. So the best thing to do is to pay them immediately. So that way you don't even give the opportunity for interest rate to accumulate. So that's important to do as soon as possible, okay? Step number 6, always pay ahead of time. Don't pay on time. If you can afford to pay ahead of time, pay ahead of time, okay? If you get a check weekly, then each week you get your paycheck, take out some money out of that paycheck and put it towards your loan. That is what I was doing. So I was working as a home health aide for at least a year after graduating college, and I paid off my student loan within 2 years. So it wasn't like I had 2 years where I was working this job that was paying me so much money and that's why I was able to get rid of my student loan. No, it's a matter of discipline. It's a matter of strategy and being determined to get rid of your loans. So each week I will get paid this job working $15, $14 an hour. Each week I get paid, I took out some money and I paid my student loan. So I wasn't trying to even save up a bulk of money before I paid off, because if I see a bulk of money, I'll probably use it for something else. So I'll take the money out of my paycheck, out of my account, and straight into my student loan. I didn't do recurring payments. I paid manually. Because if you do recurrent payments, you kind of will forget about it, and so you'll only be paying the minimum. So yeah, so always pay ahead of time. I never waited for my loan to be due before I paid. I always paid ahead. So loans are due, there's a certain figure that is due every month. I paid weekly. So by the time the month has reached for me to pay that amount, I've already paid that amount and above. So it's important, don't wait until the day that is due before you pay. If you start paying weekly, you will find that you end up paying even more. So more money is going towards your principal and not just the interest rate. Okay. um yeah, so and also in the case that you have emergencies, if you think about it, if you've been paying weekly and you're able to get rid of your monthly, the minimum amount that is due a month, you're able to pay that off within 2 weeks, and an emergency arises, you don't have to think about, oh my gosh, how am I going to pay my loan and still deal with this? You would have already paid your loan. So that extra money that you would have can be used for, emergencies. If not, if no emergency, put it towards your student loan, pay off the principal. But if you have emergencies, at least you have an extra cushion and you don't have to worry about, paying debt. So it's important. I learned that strategy and I thought it worked for me very, very well. um so yeah, so prioritizing is key. You have to be determined to pay off your loan. You have to prioritize. If you have extra money, don't go buying the latest shoes, the latest bags. Who are you impressing when you have debt on top of debt? Nobody. So be smart. Pay off what you need to pay off. Once you're debt free, you want to spend lavishly, that's on you. But at least you're debt free and your money is your money. But until you actually pay off these loans, your money is really not your money. It belongs to the banks. So it's important that, don't overspend on things that are not necessary. So that's why you have to prioritize and be disciplined. Okay? Um, and if you are able to pay off your loans individually, that's fine. I'll put up a picture of my loans. So I had Nelnet and Heartland. Those are the two companies that I was paying. So I looked at the loans with the highest interest rate and I paid those ones off first before I paid off the ones with the lower interest rate. So if that's something you're able to do, perfect. I know some people want to consolidate all their loans and pay a bulk. That's fine. I don't know how that works. For me, I like to micromanage sometimes. So I want to be able to see that my money is decreasing. So I paid it literally loan by loan. So I looked at the loans that have the highest interest rates. I paid those off first before I, focused on the loans that had the lower interest rates. So that also helped me, okay? And then, yeah, so then step number 7 is to keep track of your payments. All I did, honestly, I created a sticky note on my laptop, and each time I paid off an amount, I looked at my balance and I wrote it down. This helped me so much because I was able to visualize the money decreasing. And so it motivated me more to keep going because it's like, oh my gosh, I started at this amount, now look where I'm at. So that motivated me and encouraged me to continue to pay off these loans, because sometimes if you're not keeping track of it, it always feels like you're just paying and it's never ending. But if you're keeping track of it and you're able to visually see the numbers decreasing, that can encourage you to even, do more, or it can encourage you to continue with what you're already doing. So it's very, very, I think it's very important. That's just my own thing. You don't have to do it, but I think it's important. I just did like a sticky note on my laptop. Every time I open up my laptop, I see those numbers decreasing and I'm excited. If there's an app you can download to kind of keep track of your finances, that's perfectly fine as well. So yeah, that's important to do. So just to recap some of these things. So your grace period, you have 6 months. If you have federal loans, about 6 months before you have to start repaying your loans. Within those 6 months, if you're able to start paying, pay off immediately. Don't wait until your grace period is finished before you start paying. If you have money, you have a job, you're able to pay within those six months grace period, start paying immediately, because either way your interest is still accumulating. So there's no need. The grace period is really, I think of it more as for those who maybe don't have a job, don't have no financial income, and so therefore, they need a little bit of time to kind of get themselves together. But if you got a job, there's a way for you to get money. Start paying immediately. Don't look at that 6 month grace period. It really doesn't do anything for you. Pay ahead of time. Pay weekly, bi-weekly, depending on how you get paid. If you get in a check every week, pay your student loan every week. Even if you're paying $200, $300, $400, depending on how much you get paid, $300, $400, $500, you're putting that a week towards your student loan. Trust and believe me, you'll be happy by the end of the month, because your principal would have decreased so much, and you would have realized that you really didn't have to pay too much of an interest rate. Be disciplined, be focused, be determined, keep track of your balance, and thank God, because if not be for his grace, you won't even have the strength to be able to work. Honestly, all these ideas, I did not go looking for it. It wasn't taught to me. It's really more of, I believe, ideas that God gave me to kind of get rid of my loans, because to be honest with you, I hate debt. I don't like owing people. I like my money to be my money. So these tools helped me to get rid of my undergrad student loan in 2 years period. And so, that reminds me, one more thing. So I got rid of my undergrad student loan before I started graduate school. So if that's something that's possible for you, if you want to go to graduate school and it's something that you want to do, I would say spend at least a year or so to try to get rid of your undergrad loan, because you don't want to put debt on top of debt. If you can get rid of your undergrad loan as much as possible, and then you start your graduate school, you start that, that's fine. I realize that a lot of people don't pay off their undergrad loan, and then they go to school and then they have their graduate loan, and so by the time they're graduating, they have like 100,000 plus in loans, and it's not because of the graduate schools, because of the combination of the two. So if you are able, I know that there are some career paths that require you to probably get your master's right away. So there are those there, but you can still use these tips. But if you can wait, I'm a nurse, so I could wait. I can work as a nurse for a year, 2 years before I go for a higher degree. So if you have a job whereby you can wait at least a year, 2 years, use that period, get rid of your undergrad loan. So that way when you start graduate loan, you're dealing with a new loan. And depending on how much you take out, you don't have to finish school with $100,000 plus worth of loan. So I finished my undergrad loan. Now I'm in graduate school. So now all I have to deal with is my graduate school loans, which I'm already working on getting rid of. So I hope that those tips really helped. If anybody else have any tips or any advice that helped them to pay off their student loan, or they're in the process of paying their student loan, what is helping them or what is helping you, please feel free to put it in the comment section. Also, don't just watch this video and leave. Please subscribe and like the video, okay? All right, have an awesome day, awesome night, wherever you are. Stay blessed. Bye.